My name is Fabian Basabe, and I'm the state representative of District 106. I'm here on behalf of the people of Florida and as the landlord of the Coconut Grove Playhouse, the state of Florida. You're all here because you care about history. That makes you wiser than most. You understand the value of what cannot be replaced. I consider you allies to the cause. I know the frustrations of complicated Miami-Dade governing, and I also know that sometimes I'm saying out loud what many in government wish to say but cannot. We are here today because the Coconut Grove Playhouse belongs to the people of Florida. It does not belong to consultants or political insiders. The facts are clear. This is state property listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The DEP and the Division of Historical Resources issued a formal letter finding that the county's project causes an adverse effect. That letter has directed the county to retain the masonry facade, restore the balconies, salvage the proscenium arch and decorative elements, also to comply with the city's certificate of appropriateness and archaeological monitoring. These were not suggestions. They were legal directives, yet the county ignored them. They claimed compliance while video evidence shows historic elements broken in rubble, windows left unsealed, and no archaeologist on site. Voters approved $25 million in bonds to restore a cultural landmark, not to fund a boutique venue dependent on restaurant and retail rents. The Playhouse is state-owned land, and the county is only a tenant. They have not honored their obligations of preservation, transparency, nor accountability. That is why this upcoming legislative session, I came here to make you all aware and the people aware, I am filing legislation to reassign this lease to another municipality ready to act in good faith. I'm doing this with the support of leadership and my colleagues that serve in the supermajority Republican legislature. Some of you may not know me, but I'm quietly very effective. And I have great partners in this legislative process. And I will not stop until accountability is restored. And I say this clearly so there's no confusion to anyone listening, to anyone trying to make retail deals. In the meantime, this theater belongs to the people of Florida, and it will be restored to its cultural purpose. Do not mistake the time it takes for the legislative process as an advantage for side dealings. I assure you, this is not this theater's final act. Let me close by saying openly to the public, over the next few months, let's please keep each other updated and stand together to ensure accountability. The era of neglect and broken promises must end here. And to all of you, thank you for honoring who we are and honoring our historic value and our shared commitment to protect and support one another.
Thank you for allowing me to say a couple of words. Ladies and gentlemen, I was discovered on a stage just like the one down the street, across the street from, the restaurant Green Street that my girlfriend and I go to. North Hollywood High School stage. And before that, I was a break dancer behind Lionel Richie in the closing ceremonies of the Olympics. And as a break dancer, you had a crew of people who would express themselves with graffiti. And a lot of these kids went to jail and had violent lives and whatnot. But those of us who just artistically expressed ourselves without breaking the law went on to do great things. And I think that a city like Coconut Grove, which I fell in love with, has so much expression, artistic expression. And I think the great conquerors in history like Napoleon shot off the face of the Sphinx to demean the African people in Egypt. And once you start breaking down certain things that represent what, made these great people who they are, that's when you lose society.
My name's Andy Garcia.
Talk about the event. What you're here, why are you here?
I'm here to support the Give It Back of the Coconut Grove Playhouse, put it back in the hands of the people who care for it. I grew up here in Miami and Miami Beach and Key Biscayne, but I live in Los Angeles. I'm an actor director. But I read about the situation in the paper this morning, so I made it a point to come out.
In Coconut Grove.
Did you know Miami-Dade County is seeking approval to demolish 83% of the historic Coconut Grove Playhouse building? and replace it with a shopping center with a small 300-seat auditorium? We invite you to join our grassroots movement to advocate for the full preservation and restoration of this significant historic building.
For the first time in my tenure as mayor, I have decided to exercise my veto over an action of the City Commission.
The Coconut Grove Playhouse, the once premier regional theater of South Florida, has stood shuttered and closed for almost 14 years as a battle wages between the county and the city of Miami about how to restore and reopen this important theater. Listen to what both sides have to say.
A major decision was made this week about the future of the historic Coconut Grove Playhouse. The Miami Historic Preservation Board voted 6-4 on Tuesday against the plan to redevelop the Playhouse and reduce the theater to 300 seats from 1,100 seats.
Miami-Dade County chose to undertake a massive demolition and new construction project, a garage, retail, and office development with an ancillary 300-seat theater cloaked in the misrepresentation that this is somehow a historic preservation project.
I just wanted to point out that in our application form, we did check off demolition. Confirm this, only the iconic front building was declared architecturally significant. There was no architectural significance to the rear building. So we are here to ask you to correct the manifest error of the Historic and Environmental Preservation Board when it rejected the county's plan to restore the Coconut Grove Playhouse.
7 of the 10 standards of the Secretary of the Exterior were violated by this proposal that the county is putting forward to you today. The HEP board of the City of Miami did their job on March of 2019. Competent and substantial evidence was presented at that hearing. Arguments were made from both sides. That board did not say that they wanted to demolish this building and keep the southern facade and the eastern facade. They said, we want to save and resalvage and reuse this wonderful historic building.
Architects Hanukkah and the county repeatedly misuse the terms rehabilitation, restoration, and preservation.
I'm here to request that you grant our appeal and overturn the Historic and Environmental Preservation Board's decision denying us, Miami-Dade County, the ability to move forward with our project to restore the Coconut Grove Playhouse.
I understand that the county had a different plan, a different model, which was to create 60% commercialized space with a very small theater. And while that may be commercially viable, commercial viability is not the standard for historic preservation in the city of Miami.
What we really have is a little theater in the middle of a shopping center. I don't want any commercial activity down there. We don't have any in our plan. Everything is for the arts. We have 3 buildings involved here. First, we are going to restore the Coconut Grove Playhouse completely and modernizing that. The second, a 225-seat black box theater right next to the preserved theater. The second floor, though, is the most exciting. It's 6 studios. Studios that would be used by people for all the arts and for community activities. It would bring people down here 365 days a year. The third floor is classrooms. It's a whole floor of classrooms. This is what I would call the liner for the garage. It's this conservatory.
A. Peacock was the contractor. We know the name Peacock in Coconut Grove. He said that the building material came from fresh water sand. So don't let anybody tell you you cannot save this building because it was built with saltwater sand.
Just think about what an awful precedent that would set if all our historic homes were demolished so that we could have big, white, large boxes with 0 lots. I think it would kill the character and the soul of this city. And therefore, I am exercising my right under the charter and ordinances of the City of Miami to veto the action of the City of Miami Commission.
The significance of the Playhouse in the history of Coconut Grove is unsurpassed. Built in 1927, it had successful seasonal runs for nearly 100 years.
We all know the history of Miami and the important role Bahamians played in the establishment and founding of Miami.
The Coconut Grove Playhouse was built by Bahamians who lived in the Black Bahamian Gateway workforce community adjacent to the theater on Charles Avenue.
Today, I am saddened to see that little of my ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears remain. However, I am encouraged by the opportunity to restore the Coconut Grove Playhouse, a physical representation of my forefathers' contribution to the development of Coconut Grove as they built it with their own hands. This building, commissioners, is a cultural bridge.
It's amazing that a community like this could still exist even in its destroyed state this close to a major community like Miami. I mean, it's surprising that it isn't all gone, because the way these rapacious bastards are going, it is all going to be gone.
Please think of us as a village, as a community who cares greatly for what happens after this meeting. And let's just remember that we are a village and try to keep it a village. Thank you.
We envision the Coconut Grove Playhouse restored in accordance with the State and Secretary of Interior guidelines, as approved and funded by voters, that serves as a gateway to the historic Evangelist Street, Charles Avenue district. We envision a Coconut Grove Playhouse that reclaims its legacy as an important regional theater and the cultural centerpiece of Coconut Grove. Please join our grassroots movement at SaveTheCoconutGrovePlayhouse.com.